for today, what I wanted to bring up is the connection between this practice of dedication, offering, and the practice of compassion. So dedicating our suffering, dedicating our challenges for the well-being of all beings, for the sparing of other beings. So the way to consider this practice is, some people, may not be you, but some people may consider their suffering to be just suffering of no use. And sometimes, you might actually know that the suffering leads to growth, leads to compassion for yourself, opens the heart. But there might be some ways of actually even bringing more meaning, bringing more grace, more beauty, more meaning, purpose making from the suffering, in the midst of suffering that we have. And the frame, the perspective, the invitation for today, the frame is to see our suffering as dedicated as a dedication to the ease, freedom. It could be either to those who are suffering like us. May you be spared. May your suffering be lessened. So finding purpose and meaning in how we are suffering, as offering it up, offering our suffering, offering our difficulty as a way, as an offering to others who are suffering like us, or even a larger frame, which is primarily the one we'll work with tonight, is may all beings everywhere, may they be spared from this challenge that I have suffered, from this challenge that I'm suffering and from. May all beings everywhere be spared. May the suffering that I find myself in, may it be an offering as a gesture of goodwill for all beings everywhere. So this frame is actually similar in many ways, is the frame that's known as the practice of Tonglen in Tibetan Buddhism, which is taking or allowing the suffering of the world, of others, to be transformed, and we share goodness with them. It's not exactly that, but there are some similarities, which for sake of time I won't get into. But it's the idea of finding more meaning, as if we were offering, knowing how difficult it's been or how difficult it is, and offering the goodness. And this takes actually a different way of seeing. So it's an invitation almost to you to enter another way of seeing suffering. It's the perspective of the awakened mind that sees the suchness, the beauty, the grace of even suffering to be offered to the world. So let's try this on for size. Maybe I'll just share one more thing before we get into this. There is a little poem from Śāntideva, the 8th century Buddhist scholar and master. And maybe while we're doing our meditation, maybe I will read that and we'll let that resonate. So basically the theme is dedicating the suffering to the alleviation of suffering of all of others. Dedicating our suffering to the alleviation of suffering of others, and finding meaning, letting it become meaningful in its own way, not struggling to find meaning, but letting it happen. So